As Linux estates grow, operating standards can slip. More servers, more patches, more risk, and every team knows the line, QA and production are the same. But in the real world, it often isn't true. Red Hat Enterprise Linux gives you a trusted, stable foundation, and Red Hat Satellite gives you the control plane to manage the full life cycle. Ansible brings consistent, repeatable automation, and Obsidian Systems turns all of this into a practical, managed operating model. Red Hat delivers the enterprise-grade platform. Obsidian brings the South African expertise to make it work in your environment. So, not spreadsheets, not patching chaos. What you get is control. Hi, I'm Martin Liebenberg from Obsidian Systems. We have looked at the challenge. Linux estates grow, environments drift, and teams need a better way to manage content patching, standards, and day-to-day operations. Now, let's make it practical. I'll walk you through a controlled Red Hat Satellite demo environment and show how Satellite helps move from visibility to governed content, to remote execution, patching, reboot validation, and operational evidence. The goal is not to show every button. The goal is to show how the RHEL estate comes under control. Now that we have framed the problem and the operating model, let's move into the demo. This is a controlled Red Hat Satellite environment with a small set of managed RHEL hosts. The goal is to show the workflow, not every possible feature. We will start with visibility, what Satellite knows about the estate, what content is available, and which systems need attention. Then we will move through content control, errata, remote execution, patching, reboot validation, and final evidence that the system state has changed. In other words, from visibility to action to proof. Here we move from visibility into control. Satellite separates content from the systems that consume it through content views and lifecycle environments. Content views give us a versioned, published set of repositories and packages. Lifecycle environments let that content move through controlled stages such as development, QA, and production. Activation keys then make registration repeatable so hosts can join the correct environment with the correct content view. This is what turns patching from ad hoc updates into governed change. Before we change anything, we need a clear before state. Satellite shows what errata are applicable, what type of advisories are involved, and what managed systems need attention. That matters because patching should not start with guesswork. It should start with evidence. We can also capture the same view from Hammer CLI, giving us a repeatable command line record of what Satellite is reporting. Now we know what is outstanding, where the risk sits, and what needs to be remediated next. Now we promote controlled content through the lifecycle path. The content view gives us a version snapshot of the repositories we want the hosts to consume. By promoting that version into the next lifecycle environment, we decide what content is available before the host ever installs anything. That separation is important. We are not just updating servers directly. We are first controlling the content source, then allowing the managed systems to consume that approved content. Before we remediate the systems, we first prove that Satellite can execute work remotely. This is a simple uptime job, but it confirms the path. Satellite can target the managed hosts, run the job, capture the results, and keep the execution record. That matters because patching is not just package installation. It is controlled execution, with visibility into what ran, where it ran, and whether it succeeded. Now we move from evidence into remediation. Satellite lets us select the applicable errata and execute the work through remote execution. The important point is control. We know which host is being targeted, which updates are being applied, and we can see the job output as the work runs. So the patch action is no longer hidden inside a manual session. It is visible, targeted, and recorded. Satellite can also take us straight into the RHEL web console. From there, operators can check system health, services, logs, storage, networking, and even use a browser-based terminal. It is not a replacement for good engineering discipline, but for routine checks, it is a convenient way to work without starting every task from a separate SSH session. Satellite also helps with configuration standardization through Ansible role assignment. Here, the host starts with no directly assigned Ansible roles. We then assign approved roles to bring that system closer to the desired operating standard. In this example, the roles support Insights client integration and crypto policy management. The point is not that every task must be done manually in the interface. The point is that standards can be defined, assigned, repeated, and audited across the managed estate. This is where Red Hat value becomes clear. Red Hat has spent decades turning open source into something enterprise can trust, support, secure, and run at scale. That matters because nobody wants their production Linux strategy to depend on it worked on my laptop. With Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you get a stable enterprise platform, trusted errata, lifecycle support, security focus, documentation, knowledge, and an ecosystem built for serious workloads. Then, Satellite builds on that foundation by adding control, governed content, lifecycle movement, remote execution, and evidence. So this is not just Linux. This is enterprise Linux with the platform, tooling, and support model behind it. And there's even more that we could cover. OpenSCAP helps turn compliance into visible reporting. Red Hat Lightspeed surfaces recommendations before small issues become bigger ones. Remediation playbooks help move from finding to repeatable action. Leap Readiness helps plan major RHEL upgrades with fewer surprises. AD and LDAP integration connect Linux operations to enterprise identity. Image Builder supports repeatable image creation. Host provisioning helps bring new systems under control from the start. And Satellite's content pipeline can govern more than patches, RPM repositories, custom products, file and ISO content, and other enterprise content types. The message is straightforward. This goes far beyond patching. It's a complete lifecycle platform for managing your RHEL estate. Technology is only one part of the story. Platforms need people, process, monitoring, response documentation, and continuous improvement around them. That is where Obsidian Systems Managed Services comes in. We wrapped the Red Hat platform, Satellite, and Ansible into an operating model built around 8 disciplines: deploy, manage, monitor, patch, standardize, automate, report, and improve. Monitoring signals become incidents. Incidents become service work. Service work is linked to asset context, handled by engineers, executed through controlled automation, documented, reported, and fed back into improvement. Satellite becomes the control plane. Ansible becomes the execution engine. Obsidian becomes the team behind both. Red Hat Satellite gives the RHEL estate a lifecycle control plane. Ansible gives it repeatable execution. Obsidian Systems brings the managed operating model around both. If your Linux estate deserves better than spreadsheets, manual SSH, and hope, let's talk.